Thank you so much, Daniela. Right, it's a pleasure to be here, and a pleasure to see everyone hanging around, hopefully having a good time today. Did you listen to any interesting talks? Yes, that's good. So, I mean, so in the age of AI, we need to make sure that what we show is apparently human-made. So this is my idea of doing that, handwritten slides. You can know it's not Claude or ChatGPT that generated them. I hope you appreciate that, even though my writing can be a little bit hard to understand once in a while, maybe. But, I mean, the topic here is how to make shoes, hamburgers, and AI systems. And maybe that's a strange title, but I think I will be able to convince you what the red thread between those three objects are. And let's see. Okay, so there is a lot of talk around industrialization of knowledge work currently. And what do we actually mean with that? But NVIDIA had a press release a few weeks ago where they said that they are part of the next industrial revolution in knowledge work with some new agentic framework that is basically it's NanoClaw and OpenShell and all these things that you can do to make amazing agentic systems. But it's really the word industrial revolution in knowledge work that I want to talk about now. And there's also this quote from Sam Altman, I think about a year ago, when he says that he compares AI innovation to industrial era machines. And that is really also very important, like the phrasing here, industrial era machines. And everything we have been talking about today, a lot of these things are actually about this industrialization that we are part of building. The people that building the AI systems that have been in the presentations today, they are part of this industrialization that they are talking about here. But what does that actually mean for us and for the industry, and primarily for us as people working? And this is where the shoes and the hamburgers come in. So back in the day, the Industrial Revolution basically changed how we make things. And there is this term craftsmanship, which is basically the skill of making things. And there is a book from Richard Sennett, I think it's about 10 years ago, called The Craftsman, where he has this quote, "Craftsmanship names an enduring basic human impulse, the desire to do a job well for its own sake." I mean, it's really a lot about, like, I do things because I'm good at it and I enjoy what I'm doing. That is craftsmanship, and I can do it well, and I learn how to become better, and I enjoy learning, becoming better. And when we made shoes back in the days, you had cobblers and shoemakers and so on that a lot of them probably enjoyed making shoes, and they liked making good shoes that people really could wear for a long time. Hopefully that's true for this lady here, that she was proud of her craftsmanship and the art of doing these shoes. Knowledge work is also craftsmanship. I mean, if you take accountants, financial advisors, software engineers, lawyers, general practitioners, this is a non-exhaustive list, of course, but all these people are craftsmen that are proud of what they're doing. Even if you're an accountant, you can be really proud of that you have accounted all the invoices in a correct way, and you have control over the regulation and the tax implication and everything like that. They're proud of what they're doing. But what happens when we basically go from that kind of craftsmanship model of knowledge work into something that is more mechanized or industrialized? What does that mean for us as people? And industrialization really changed how we make shoes. Now, fast fashion, these numbers you have to take them a little bit with a grain of salt because there's not much academic studies exactly how industrialization changed the quality of shoes. But these are just some numbers. Like 68% of fast fashion sneakers show structural failures. And most shoes nowadays have a lifetime about 6 to 12 months. Most people own approximately 5 times more shoes compared to 100 years ago. And more shoes, but they wear them for a shorter time. And the trade-off here is that we have traded like craftsmanship that actually made the shoes expensive, but potentially higher quality for speed and cost and also availability of more shoes. And you can always keep in the back of your mind here how that translates to AI system and code and contracts that you generate automatically and so on. So the best shoes are still handmade. I think if you want a really good pair of shoes, you would go and have them handmade, maybe from an Italian or English factory. But and there's like a distribution here. I made that up, but potentially could be realistic. That most shoes are lower quality to the best handmade shoes, but we have a lot more than them. So we have the factories that now are used to make shoes enable explosion of choice for customers and also a lot lower price, potentially lower quality. But let's take the analogy here into how that would translate into law, let's say. I have a mechanized commercial law, and you have some commercial requirements that goes into this factory. Maybe that's a cloud co-work skill or like an AI system like Legora, and out comes contract draft. I think we're still in the situation in the future scenario here that the best contracts will be made by hand, but contract factories now have enabled more choice for customers. There will be a lower price to get the output here, which is democratizing and more people can get help from lawyers and so on because the price goes down. So there's this trade-off that we have. And this is not a new thing. So there was this guy called Theodore Levitt. He talked about the industrialization of service. Okay, now we have the same problem as we had before. But that it's actually the transparency of my color marking is not working. But he was talking about, so he's famous for globalization, which is some term they talked about in the 90s. I'm not sure it's relevant anymore. But his formula for the industrialization of service was that we have simpler tasks, division of labor, you take these tasks and you gradually replace these tasks with machines for the things that you can automate. And you have like a human in the loop. He didn't call it human in the loop. Now we call it human in the loop for agentic systems that made the key decisions and can do things that the machines could not automate. And what he's actually talking about in the book here is that thinking of the service as craftsmanship and having the human perspective of it is actually decreasing efficiency. So because you trust the people that does the service to do a good job, you cannot automate it in the same way as you would have a machine doing it. So he basically said that, okay, now we need to industrialize service to increase the output and so on. So he had McDonald's as an example. Because in the 70s and probably 60s, what McDonald's did was to industrialize how we made hamburgers by taking all the steps, going from like the order into all these different parts that you have in a McDonald's store where you do the different things and you can replace some of them with machines. And of course, hamburgers, it's really good that you can get cheap food. I mean, it's a lot of people that enjoys that, but it also has changed the way that food is made. And what happened after this work from Levitt was that people had a lot of issues with that. People didn't enjoy working at McDonald's in the same way that you would do in a restaurant where you have more time and you do all the things yourself. And what happened is that industrialization stands in conflict with empowerment. You're no longer empowered as a worker in the restaurant. And John Carlson, he was a famous CEO of SAS in the 80s and 90s, I think. He basically said that this is not a way to do service. We cannot industrialize service in the way that people won't enjoy what they're doing. So there was a backlash to this way of looking at industrialization of services. And also a backlash, I mean, maybe it's not so fun working in a shoe factory compared to actually making the shoes yourself. The craftsmanship has disappeared. Potentially, this time is different. AI systems are maybe not these industrial machines that will take away what we enjoy. And people always claim this time is different. And maybe this time it's different because industrialization made machines that trade like energy for action, like mechanized action. But nowadays we do like trade energy for intelligence in some sense, very roughly. But I mean, there's clearly a fundamental difference in how these systems work. But it's a little bit bet, is that true or not? Let's see. So I want to think about how can we as practitioners in this field make sure that the systems and the processes and so on that we put in place, everything that we have been talking about today, actually it's a conscious decision of trading the craftsmanship for the mechanization. I mean, we shouldn't do this just automatically because we have all these economical pressures of increasing margins and so on, because it will also change we as knowledge workers how we enjoy the work that we're doing. And hopefully it's possible now this time around to make sure that the systems we build empower people to do a good job and actually enjoy still what they're doing, instead of just being the human in the loop that does some of the things that the AI not yet can do. I think, so hopefully, my point for you to take home is that when you're thinking about designing these systems, maybe it's a way to design them in such a way that they empower instead of marginalize the human in that process. So hopefully what people are talking about now, the industrialization of knowledge work that Sam and all these startup people are talking about, hopefully that's the wrong analogy. Hopefully we will not change the way how we do things from like cobblers into factories, and from like people making food into just people making like French fries, and that's what they do. So this is my maybe view of all the things that we have been talking about here. Make sure that these systems empower. Okay, I'm not over, but I think it's a good thing to think about. To be continued. We don't know how this will end. And probably we will talk more about this next year at the conference, because I think this is something that we will continue to see how this plays out. Okay, and next year, of course, is the next conference, 2027 GAIA. We already have a date. It's the 27th of April, and I think we booked it like a week or two ago. So if you want to learn more about AI and continue this important work that we're doing in this Gothenburg community, come again next year. And of course, the conference would not be possible without all the organizers. So another part of the tradition here is that we bring the organizers on stage and we can give them a big applause for the fantastic work they're doing. All of it is non-profit. No one makes any money out of this conference. We're all doing it because we think it's important, and because it's fun bringing people that have a passion for machine learning, AI, data science, and so on, at the same place at least once a year. So please welcome all the organizers. It's a big group this year. I think you need to move a little bit further to the left here, otherwise they will have to stand in the shadows over there. Come. Yeah, more and more. I mean, it's becoming bigger and bigger every year, so makes sense. Okay, everybody on stage? Okay, then give these guys a huge applause. And I think now it's time for some drinks, and please stay around as long as you want and continue the discussions. Talk about all the amazing things that we can do and all the important things that we need to remember when we're doing it. Thank you so much.